Hi guys, Ken Lusk here with MyStarReport.com with an update to my last video about March predictions and major March events coming up, March concerns. So following up on that video and all the amazing things that we saw in the last prediction period that came true, we've come to the moon's effect now in the fourth house Gemini that I warned about. That happened that happened today when the moon moved into the fourth house where we find Gemini right now. I want to address the most obvious and the most recent event that illustrates this, because we'll get to see this energy in motion basically and follow its evolution for the rest of the month through until the 30th, when we have the next moon cycle start, which the 30th will bring about a full moon. So remember the concept that I talked about before, how target dates are like ripples on a pond. You've heard me talk about that before, where the concept of when you throw a rock into a pond, it creates an event that ripples out until the ripples disappear. Well, the target date for these predictions is like that center energy that ripples out in both directions of the zodiac, before the target date and after the target date, and that creates a window, usually about 5 to 6 days before the target date and 5 to 6 days after the target date. Those are usually the windows that I work with, and that's what creates a prediction window for me anyway, and the period usually lasts about 11 to 13 days altogether. This window in particular, involving Gemini in the fourth house, is really extraordinary though, and that's why I call special attention to its upcoming significance in my last video, which you'll be able to actually download. I'll archive that on my homepage so you can still have access to it and make reference to it. And that was my video on predictions for concerns in March, for the first part of March. So let's look at this this interesting thing that has happened here. This volcano that erupted in Iceland on Saturday, which was the last day of my prediction window for volcanoes. I had severe weather and nature's destructive forces, and earthquakes was up there also. God, we saw a lot of earthquakes during that period. And volcanoes was part of that. That was the 9th of March through the 20th specifically. The 20th was Saturday. Those predictions were anticipation of a series of events that would be focused especially in Gemini countries, Gemini cities, states, etc., based on the new moon's energy approaching a fourth house Gemini and the moon's movement through the fourth house. So we have now this volcano that erupted Saturday in Iceland. Iceland actually declared its independence from a Nazi-occupied Denmark June 17, 1944, in its capital of Reykjavik, proclaiming itself at that time to be a constitutional republic. That was the birth of a new state, the birth of a new country. And the fact that that happened on June 17th, of course, in mundane terms, makes Iceland a Gemini country. So that right there is very interesting, to say the least, that actually came true that way. And just to sort of elaborate on that, because some people don't know this much about mundane astrology, you may or may not know, but the United States recognizes its birthday as July 4th, 1776, for instance, when it signed its Declaration of Independence. making the U.S., of course, a Cancer country. So in mundane astrology, the fourth house, where Gemini is right now, the fourth house rules the seas, farms, poverties, borders, weather, disasters, patriotism, and real estate. Okay. Now, the government of Iceland evacuated hundreds of people from their homes near the site of this volcano. They also evacuated 14 farms. 14. Obviously, again, Gemini's energy at work here, 14 being a multiple of 2. I talked about this in my last video and posted it on the website. It's still there on the homepage for you to look at. Everything is in 2s for Gemini, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, so forth and so on. Multiples of 2. And the fact that farms are ruled in the 4th house really just sort of further drives home this energy that I was talking about Gemini in the 4th house of disasters right now. And this energy is actually going to carry on for another 8 to 9 days at least. As the moon moves into the 5th house, we find the 5th house occupied by Cancer. Now, Cancer actually rules the 4th house. So there will be a hidden effect of the moon, in the 4th house, even though the moon has moved on. If you have questions about that, email me and I'll explain it to you. You can email me at ken@mystarreport.com. So keep in mind also the ripple effect of the moon from being in the 4th house, extending out for about 5 or 6 days, even from the moon being in the 5th house. So this energy sort of perpetuates, and this is what I was hinting at in my last video, but I wanted to wait to expand or expound upon that later when I had a little more time. Then as the moon moves into the 6th house, we have Mars, which rules explosions. Leo, ruled by the sun, and the sun does what? It amplifies energies, okay? The sun also, again, being a fiery energy, but the sun amplifies energies wherever it is, or wherever there's an aspect that allows it to, okay? Oppositions, squares, really wide angles, stuff like that, when it's combust with something else. And so the moon then moves into the 7th house, where it will oppose a 1st house Uranus. Uranus, of course, is the ruler of weather, shocking events, shocking change, explosive change, volcanoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, tornadoes. I've talked about this before. Most of you know this already. An added problem, though, is that Uranus, again, is in Pisces, which rules the waters, the oceans, watery, hazy energies, the clouds, right? The waters of the earth, the vapors of the earth, so forth and so on. And in the 7th house, we have, at that time, Virgo. And, of course, Virgo is an earth sign. That all happens on the 28th, which only happens to be 2 days before a full moon. So, right? Again, that's happening within the window of a full moon. And that lunatic energy, that crazy energy. So these earth and weather and water-related disasters are just going to continue. It's going to be the same old story. This is continuing on. It's crazy. In my next video, I'll probably address the effects of Mars, Leo, the Sun, Neptune, and Aquarius, and what's to come from all that, so that you have a little more of an idea of what's causing these things. And I'll post the script for this video for you to download in PDF format on my homepage at mystarreport.com. So until then, Lusk out.